I think that he knew what I was going to be the day I was born. I think he had this all planned out to find out how I would take this and how I would carry it. You know what I'm saying?
Hi guys, welcome back to The Ratchet Christian. My name is Asmau and I am The Ratchet Christian. As always, you know how to start this. I'm excited to be here because I'm always excited to be here. I love talking and I love talking to people that I love talking to. I also made the mistake of having coffee right before I came in. So it's gonna be a very talkative conversation. We have a full house today of incredible comedians, good friends of mine. And I'm just going to go down the line and list all 20 of them that are here right now. I'm just kidding. Starting first with comedian extraordinaire. I have so many good things that I could say about you, and I will throughout the podcast, but he is hilarious. He's from Chicago or Detroit?
Chicago.
He's from Chicago. I want to make sure I get that right. He's from Chicago. I want y'all to give a warm welcome to Marcus Evans. Woo! There's usually like a little clap thing too. Did you hear the clap? Yeah. I had to add that in there. As comedians, we get paid in claps. So we have Marcus Evans in the building with us, and to my right we have the incredible, the world famous, the hilarious, the wise, the incredible Robert G. Lee.
Two of the three of those.
It's all true, everyone. It's all true. Give it up for Robert G. Lee, everyone. Ow, ow, ow. And then my tender heart, my wonderful friend, my mentor. She's a comedian. She's smart. She's brilliant. She's hilarious. She's beautiful. She's a jack of all trades. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to Jen Lewis. Jen is like, when is this gonna stop? You're like, wait, land
Don't
this
believe
plane.
the hype. Don't believe the hype.
All true.
If you're going to bring up Joel, can I leave now? Because it's going to be a long
No. Man, okay. So last but not least, our headliner, as we were saying before, before we got started.
You had to say that to get.
I did, actually.
Yeah.
I sent him a separate text, just letting him know. I'm like, this is going to be all about you today, Joel. The other ones were bait. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
It's the way it should be.
No, I'm joking. But honestly, let me introduce you properly.
Okay.
He is incredible. He's also a jack of all trades. He's an actor. He's a comedian. He does improv. He is a part of my childhood and a part of your childhood. And we will get there. But right now, we're just going to do the introduction. I want you guys to give a very warm welcome to the incredibly talented, the amazingly funny Joel Mcrarry.
I didn't know you were her nanny.
No, he raised me. I grew up with him. I grew up with Joel. Like, no, literally, when I had met you, I was just like, oh my God, like all of like my childhood, like, we're going to get there.
You squealed.
I did.
I remember that
People
too.
don't know that we're amongst royalty right now.
That's right.
We're amongst royalty. This is the Prime Minister of Genovia.
Yes.
The
That is
prime-
true.
That-
Yes,
that
I am
is
the Prime
true.
Minister of Genovia.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm like, was that even the first question? It is the first question. Okay. Amazing. So we're actually on track. I tried to do some research on you all, just on your professional careers. I know you individually. I work with you as, friends and comedians, but it's like you all have a resume, a real plethora of a resume. So I Googled all you all because you're Googleable, which is great. I did. And for you, Joel, I found out that you were born in Mississippi.
I was raised in Mississippi.
You were
I
raised
was
in
born
Mississippi.
in Oklahoma.
Okay.
My dad was in the Army. I was
Yeah.
born, and then 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
they moved. My
So
mom and dad. And
with being raised in Mississippi, like, how did you know that you wanted to become an actor? Because it's like you didn't grow up in Hollywood. You weren't an industry baby. Like, what gave you that passion to be like, I want to go to Hollywood?
It was watching the Carol Burnett show.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, Tim Conway on the Carol Burnett show,
Mhm.
cracking up Harvey Korman and the other cast members. And just kind of, he was dangerous. You never knew what he was going to do. And I was just attracted to that.
Mhm.
And I remember being very young, like a couple of times making family and friends and people laugh. And I was just like, oh, I like that.
Mhm.
Also, I think being the youngest of 3 kids, so 6 in our family with mom, dad, my brothers and sisters and brother, I kind of forgotten a lot. So like actors, comedians, it was like I had a need for attention. And so
Don't we all?
Yeah.
That's why we're all comedians.
Hopefully we mature beyond that.
I'm waiting for it to happen.
Hang in there. It will happen for you. So I think that, but I was really attracted to that, and I ended up doing some stuff on stage. I got a laugh and applause and just felt accepted by the audience. And then I ended up doing some community theater, and I remember afterwards the people I was in the show with, my family came to the show and afterwards was introducing them to people. And I remember like a couple of the leads in the cast saying, "Oh, you're Joel's brother. Oh, you're Joel's sister." I'd always been their brother. And for the first time, it was like there was like a possessive there that I really reacted to. It's like, oh, so all that was part of it. And then, yeah, I was like, how do I pursue this? In growing up in Mississippi. And so I ended up, there was a guy there, Robert Mizrobian, who did these, kids musical theater workshops. And my mom was like, "You should do that." I said, "Well, I want to be an actor," because I'd always said that. But I don't want to be that kind of actor. I wanted to be an actor like Henry Winkler's The Fonz on the old show Happy Days. I said, I want to be that. He's really cool. But then they said, "Well, if you're interested in doing that, you should do this." I was like, "Nah, I don't think so." And so they forced me literally to go see a show, a community theater show, a production of Music Man. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was just like, "Oh, this is awesome." I don't think I'd been to a live theater show before. And I really responded to it. And of course, afterwards, they're like, "Well, what'd you think?" I was like, "It was okay."
Yeah.
But then
I love it. It's what I'm going to do with my life. Yeah.
Exactly. And the next morning, I went down. I told them, that workshop you're talking about? Yeah, I guess I could do that. But inside, I was like so excited. And so I started doing that and doing community theater. So I just grew up performing. And I had to make a choice between playing football or doing theater. And I chose doing theater. Because in that day and age, it's not like today where kids who have, extracurricular activities and parents drive them around everywhere. Yeah. I had to choose. It's like, no, you got to choose which one you're going to do because we're not driving you to multiple places during the week.
No gentle parenting in Mississippi. Got it.
No. If you wanted that, you had to leave the state.
Yeah. And come to California.
That's right. Come to California, which I eventually did. But I was beyond parenting by that point.
Yeah. I have more questions about that. But before we get more into like the details of the things that you've done in your career, one of the questions that I wanted to ask all of us, you had answered, and that was like, when was the first time somebody told you that you were funny, and how did it make you feel? I want all of us to answer that, starting with you, Jen. Do you remember the first time that somebody told you that you were funny, and like, what was that moment like for you?
Absolutely. Oddly enough, it was when I was a kid, very little. I'd say probably like 6 or 7 that I really remember it. But as a kid, I used to go to church, and we'd get there early. And there would be, like, in the back row, I don't know why all the old people sat in the back row, but that's where they all sat. And so they'd get there early, too. And, my parents were involved in ministry and stuff. So I would be in the back entertaining them and making them laugh. And I remember it was Fred and Hazel that first told me, "You are so funny." And then, eventually I used that to get out of trouble a lot, because I was in trouble in school all the time. I had a lot of energy. And I was just always in trouble. And so I would use humor to get out of those situations.
It's a good skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lasted a lifetime. That's good.
But I think the thing that sealed the deal when I really knew that my path was going to be a little different, I tried out for the cheerleading squad.
Yeah. That'll set you straight.
And they looked at me, they looked at the other cheerleaders, and they're like, "She's cool, we'll let her in. She's short and funny.
Yeah.
What do we do with her? Let's make her the mascot."
Oh my gosh.
So I knew my path was going to be a little different. Yeah. But in becoming a mascot, I learned physical comedy.
You took the role?
I took the
You were the mascot?
I owned it.
Okay.
I owned it. And the whole school, we went from like boring pep rallies to like these crazy off the chain pep rallies, right? Because I really did. I didn't want to be the mascot, but I owned it and I became the mascot and I killed it.
What was the mascot?
I know. Now I want to know.
Were you the tigers? Were
Yeah.
you the rejected
You know what?
princesses?
Yes.
You know what, Robert? I was a cougar.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
You know, we get set on our paths early in life. No, I'm kidding.
A bit of a prophecy.
You
There are
know.
a lot of sixth graders in the front row scared.
Oh, no.
See, I never knew that you were a mascot for
I
your school's
was.
cheerleading team.
So it
I'm
was
already learning
physical
stuff
comedy.
about you.
It was physical comedy.
Yeah.
It was actually a lot of fun, and I ended up loving it.
Did the people at the school think that you were cool? Like, did they know that, oh, Jen Lewis is the mascot? Or was it like a
Yes.
mystery? No one knew in the school who the mascot was?
They knew who I was. They wrote articles about me.
Wow.
And I was
Solomon, can you find any of these articles? Can you?
Holton Christian
What was the
School.
name of the school and the year?
That's hilarious.
Pull it up and put it on the screen.
It was fun. It actually ended up being like a real high spot, something that could have been a real drag.
Yeah.
You know, ended up being just a great thing. And
Do you remember a quote in one of the articles that was written about you?
no,
Oh.
I don't.
Well, then they were not very good articles.
Right.
Very forgettable. They should go back
I just
and
want to
rewrite
find a
those.
picture
That's right.
of her like with the mascot head under her arm and it's like the same size as her. You know?
Exactly, precisely. Yeah.
That's super cool. I also tried out for the cheerleading team and I didn't make it. So I'm also a comedian like you. I wasn't offered to be a mascot though, because I was not funny back then. I always would get from people like, we never knew that you were all were funny. I'm like, yeah, because you guys were mean to me. I wasn't funny back then, you know? But I did do track instead. And that has kept me in shape for most of my life. So I'm grateful for that. Just the 1 year that I did track, I feel like was a blessing to me. But before I make the conversation about me, Robert, when was the first time somebody told you that you were funny and how did that make you feel?
I tried out for the cheerleading team.
There you go. Okay. I also did
Composition
research.
school.
Yeah.
So
What was the mascot you became?
a cougarette.
Makes sense.
So I knew I was funny early on, but and you ask how it made you feel. So this is a very specific time. It was fifth grade, and some people have heard this story before, not in the audience, of course. It's brand new to you.
Yeah.
But they showed us a film. They showed us a film which I think was to turn us against guns. But a hunter went out in the forest with his dog, and he saw a deer and was lapping at the water. He's about to shoot it, and then this little doe comes out next to the deer, and he changes his mind, and he walks away with the dog. So it was a very short film, but we're all supposed to write an essay about this. Well, everybody else wrote a very serious essay, and I turned it into a comedy routine. And so it was George of the Jungle was a popular character at that time, and his dog Shep. And by the time I was done, the teacher was literally crying. She was laughing so hard. And I left not with knowing I had succeeded. I left going, why did nobody else do anything funny? Why am I the only one in my class? And that's when I knew I was different.
Thank you for sharing that story with us. From what I'm hearing, the commonality is like it's all kind of started like young in a way with all of us, where it's like I kind of had like a inkling, you know. People would tell me that I was funny, although I just said people sometimes were like, "Oh, I didn't know that you were funny." It was kind of half and half, you know. I remember that it's like I could make people like me by pretending to be kind of like dumb. Is that like, I'm like, so okay, hear me out.
When did you stop that? I guess?
I'm actually doing it right now. I'm still doing it right now. It's paying the bills. I have not stopped. So it was the early 2000s, and Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie were like a thing, and it's like the hot, like dumb blonde was like the moment and what you wanted to be. And I remember I would just kind of say like silly things because I know it would get like a chuckle out of people. And my mom would have this saying all the time. She was like, "Girl, you a book smart, but you ain't got no common sense." You know what I mean? Then the whole room would bust out laughing. And I'm like, yeah. And there was this one particular moment we were driving past an apartment complex, and it was like, or a home. It was like model home for rent or model apartment for rent. And we were in a car with our family, and I was like, "Oh my God, does a model live there?" And I knew that a model didn't live there. I knew what it was, but it's like I just wanted to like make people laugh. And then the whole car like burst out laughing at like the joke. And I was like, okay, well, that feels good. And it kind of makes people like me, but it just wasn't. Deep down, I knew I'm like, I'm not dumb, you know, but I wanted to make people laugh. And so, Marcus, that's my sad story. I feel like you I feel like you probably have a better story of the first time that people told you that you were funny, and how did it make you feel?
Well, it's not going to be a better story.
Okay, all right, come on.
Okay.
Into the dark side of things.
But
No, I'm
I
kidding.
think the first time it was pointed out that I may have something there was my first permanent job. I worked at a law firm.
Oh, okay.
But there was a lot of drama.
All right.
There was a lot of drama in the department. Okay, I worked in finance. I still work in finance.
Mm.
And really, the only way to keep us from, not tearing each other's, heads off was through comedy and making jokes and saying things that weren't necessarily not inappropriate.
Yeah.
But things.
But on the edge.
Well,
No,
yeah,
okay.
very much so. So whenever someone would come to the department or something like that, I would kind of just make fun of the person, and then it would just light jesting. And but light jest, nothing. Light jest.
That's what I'm gonna say next time.
Look who's bankrupt.
Yeah. Third bankruptcy, huh? No kidding.
Hostile environment. Yeah, we weren't necessarily the best of friends in the office. You had one side that liked each other, and then this side had their side of friends. We had our side of friends over here. But comedy was the one thing that kind of united all of us. And this is not really the first time this has really happened to me in the workplace. But from there, I wish I would have paid attention to that. Like, then I would have tried stand-up in Chicago. I started stand-up out here,
Really?
which is like, the hardest place to try it.
Yeah.
But, that's where I knew that I probably had something, but I didn't really, pursue it there.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing comedy for? I know you said you started out here. I was doing the math today as I was getting ready. I think for me, this is going on my 7th year. And how long have you
I would say it's been about that also, because I have other things I'm doing as well.
Yeah.
So I have to, not count that time as my comedy time when I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I would say about that.
Yeah.
I would say about that.
Because it was around the time that I moved here as well. I never saw myself like doing comedy. I never thought that I would be a comedian. This was something that really, fell into my lap through acting. I moved to LA to become an actress. I've always loved film. Even when I was in Africa, I used to watch Jean-Claude Van Damme films.
Watch your language.
No, I used to watch it in French because I used to like be able to speak French and hear French because in Guinea, that was like the first language. And so I remember just watching movies all the time, and I always knew that I wanted to like be in movies, and that's always been a desire of mine. And so when I got to come to America, I'm like, okay, maybe one day I'll do that. And then as an adult, it's something I always wanted to pursue. I did modeling classes as a kid, so I did a lot of like modeling stuff. And then I realized I'm like, oh, like they can't eat. I want to eat, and so I want to eat, and so I decided that I was gonna, pursue acting instead of modeling full time, and like really do that because I'm like, oh, I want to be able to eat, and like for the rest of my life. So, and if you're an actress, if you're good, you can really be any shape. I mean, it's still kind of strict, but it's like still like you can have a meal. And so when I graduated college, I remember I saved up for 2 years. I was living in my sister's basement in Virginia. And then I was like, I'm going to move to LA and I'm going to become an actress, and had no plans, met somebody off of Facebook, asked to be their roommate. They said yes. And I was like, God, I don't think that they are going to kill me. So I'm going to go. So I moved in with a stranger, didn't have a job, but I was like, okay, the first week that I get there, I'm going to fast, and I'm going to pray, and I'm going to go looking for a job. And within a week I had 2 jobs. And it was at one of those jobs that one of the customers had came in and he ordered fish tacos, and our fish tacos had cheese on them. And so I brought it to his table, and he was like, I didn't ask for cheese. And I was having a really bad day. I said, you didn't say that. And then so I ended up taking it back. But because of that, we actually started a friendship because he was a regular. He would come in all the time. And he was like, I was like, do you want cheese today? He's like, no. So we kind of became friends. And then he was like, what are you in LA for? Like, are you from here? I was like, no, I moved out here to pursue acting. And he was like, are you in an acting school? And I told him, I'm like, no, I'm not. I really don't have any idea what I'm doing. He's like, well, I'm in one. Let me give you the information. Come to my acting school. And so I joined Anthony Gallardi Acting Studio, I think in like 2017 or 2018. And it was my acting coach that was just like, you're funny. Like, I want you to try doing stand-up comedy in front of the class. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, well, I'll do it because it was an acting exercise. And then I wrote like a 10-minute set. I performed it in front of the class. And he was like, that was really good. I want you to perform at the end of the year party in December. And I was like, okay. I just kept saying yes, but it was really my acting coach, Anthony, who saw that in me and like called it out and then gave me opportunities to practice it in front of people. And then there was a guy named Luis in my acting studio who was a comedian, and I knew he was a working one. So I reached out to him after I did the show because I really enjoyed it and people laughed. And I was like, hey, Luis, like, I think I want to keep doing comedy outside of class. Do you have any pointers? He was like, I'm going to put you in touch with these 2 producers. Ask them if they want to put you on any shows. And so I emailed both of the producers, and they both said yes and gave me a date. And then it was history after that. But I never saw that for me. It was other people that saw that in me and like called it out. And I'm so grateful because now I'm more so a comedian than an actor. But I've always loved acting. I feel like it's not something that came easy to me. I still don't feel like I'm like the best actor in the world. But Joel, to get back to you, I went through your IMDb. I watched your reel. Like you've done so much incredible work and you have so much humility that you would never even be able to know that you have such a repertoire as an actor. But the most iconic one that you did was The Princess Diaries. And I want to know a little bit about how that opportunity came about, if you're comfortable talking about it. Solomon, if you could pull up the picture of the Prime Minister of Genovia. When he's, it's him. He's right there. Let's go. Like, that is so incredible. I, again, grew up watching this film as a kid and always loving TV, always wanted to be an actor, like knowing what it felt for me to watch Anne Hathaway and like watch that movie and then to just, meet you. It just made me feel like, oh, I'm on the right path. I have many moments like that, but I was just one of those moments that was just like, this is somebody I grew up watching in this movie that I loved, and I just met him. I think I'm doing the right thing. So how was that experience for you? How did you get this opportunity? What was it like filming it?
It was a really, really great experience. And, like you, I came to Los Angeles to be an actor. I've been doing improv comedy in Orlando, which is a whole story about how I got into that. But I've been doing that for years and then moved out here. My group that I was with there, the majority of them came out here. We formed an improv group here and we performed for many, many years over on La Brea at a place called Acme Comedy. I don't think it's there. I know it's not there anymore. But it was a great place, and we were there every Friday night. We had our group that we're performing with, and one of Gary Marshall was the director of Princess Diaries, but also was my hero as a kid because he created Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, The Odd Couple, all these great shows that I watched growing up. And then he had moved on and directed Pretty Woman, and then later Princess Diaries, a lot of other great films. But I had seen him in a bunch of things and seen him interviewed. And so he was a hero of mine. And his assistant, a guy named Tommy Hines, came to our improv shows and was a big fan.
Wow.
And we got to know him and would hang out with him afterwards and say, I'm going to get Gary to come see the show. I'm going to get Gary to come see the show. And after a couple of months of that, we're like, yeah,
sure.
Right, Tommy,
yeah.
sure, yeah. Okay, good. You work on that. And then one night we looked out and we hear Gary Marshall out there laughing, and we meet him afterwards and talk to him. And then I get a call from Tommy. He's like, so Gary has a movie that he's working on, and he had a part in mind for you.
Wow.
That I came to find out later that he created for myself and Claire, who plays my wife in the movie.
No way.
Yeah. He had seen both of us, and in the improv show, I had done an improvised opera. And so he said, I'm thinking maybe the prime minister, he likes to, this is my imitation of Gary Marshall, he likes to sing. And so maybe we'll have him sing the Genovian national anthem. And for Claire, he was like, oh, she did a scene where she did a Scottish accent. What if your character is Scottish? And so he kind of created these roles for us. And so that was how it came about. And then he said, we still need you to come in and audition so Disney can see you. So I went in and read a scene. And then afterwards, they're like, okay.
Wow.
And then he said, we need a Genovian national anthem. Do you think you could write a Genovian national anthem? I was like, yeah. And I worked with my friend Bill Larkin, who was our pianist for our improv group, and we wrote the Genovian national anthem.
You wrote that yourself?
I did.
Do you get resistance?
Wow. I'm like, sing it right now on the spot. No, that is incredible. Talk about favor and something being tailored uniquely for you. Like, of course, you were doing the work, like we're all believers. We believe in Jesus and we all have faith. But I always say I'm like the biggest opportunities that I've had so far in my career, I never submitted for or, it's because I did this audition and all that stuff. It always found me. Like some of the biggest things that I've done have found me doing what it is that I'm already doing,
Right.
And that's such a huge testament to that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And it's such an honor to be a part of something that has become such a classic.
It is a classic.
Both of them.
Yeah.
The first one especially, but the second one too. They're both classics, and they keep making rumors and saying rumors about a third one.
Yeah.
We'll see if it happens.
I think
and
it's
if
time.
they do,
Yeah.
well, yeah. But then the important part: are they going to call me?
Yeah, I think they will. You heard it here first, everybody. I'm like,
And I saw the picture.
that would be incredible.
I need to make a hairpiece. For
No,
me.
Sadly, the prime minister was assassinated.
no, that would be a modern day version. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll go and lay in a coffin.
There you
if
go.
I can be in the movie.
And then he gets resurrected. You know,
Oh,
like making an Easter movie. No, I'm kidding.
I like that. I like that.
I knew
Jesus
I knew
shows
you
up.
all would like that one. All the Christians. Oh, yes.
That's our favorite part.
Resurrection. That's what it needs. And so, Robert, for you as well, I also, did some research because I know you've had such a long career in comedy. You've done so many amazing
That's a way
things.
of saying you're old.
I know. As soon as I said that, I'm like, he's immediately going to call me out and be like, you're calling me old, but Joel did it. He's doing your dirty work today. No, but you've had such an amazing career, and you also have been a part of my childhood as well. Years ago, we were having a conversation, and I think maybe you had shared with the class while you were teaching at Upside Down Comedy that you had written for Veggie Tales. And as a kid who grew up in church, like that's a part of all of our lives. And I was like, what? You wrote for Veggie Tales? And so we'll get there. But then, as I was doing research, I also, you've talked about that you were a warm-up comedian. And you're the only warm-up comedian that I've met in this life, which is something also very unique, very just unique. And so I want to know more about like how did you become a warm-up comedian? You've had such a long career, so I'm trying not to ask like a super vague question about like how that's been because I read all the shows that you've done it for and all the shows that you've written for. But Solomon, can you pull up the picture of Robert for us?
Oh, please. I want
Yeah. I found it on your website, so I'm like, I knew you would like it. You see?
Oh, yeah. There.
And
It
so
was on one day at a time, I think.
yeah. Okay. Because I wanted to ask him, like, okay, which show is this? Because, okay, when you used to watch shows back in the day and there'll be like a laugh track of like an audience, is that like something that you would do? Or is it like Kimmel where a comedian would do like a opening set before and then, it would go into the Kimmel? Like, how did you get into this line of work? Because as a comedian, there's so many different ways that you can go. How did warm up find you?
Right. So first, let me explain what it is because
Yeah.
people are very confused. So when you're a TV warm-up, you go out, you do get the audience going at the beginning like they do with the Kimmel show, but then you're there for the duration. So when the actors go change their clothes, when the writers don't think a line is funny or the audience doesn't laugh and they have to rewrite it, it's you. So you're on the whole time. So it can last 4, 5, 6 hours, literally. And so you learn how to improv, you learn how to think on your feet, and you just keep talking. And so, I mean, the joke is when I started on the Golden Girls, they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
So that's how long it takes. But I got into it because I helped a friend of mine get into TV warm-up. He lied. He was a great guy, and he called a show and said, hey, I won't give his name, blank blank would be a great guy to warm up. He's done plenty of them.
Yeah.
And then they hired him, and he came over to my house and said, we got to write an act. So I wrote an act with him, and we put it together, and it worked very well. And then he was on the Golden Girls, but he got an offer to be an actor someplace else. So they needed someone to replace him. So I got my shot.
Wow.
And because I had written the act with him, I was able to do it. And so then as soon as I got that first one, I called up Designing Women and says, come see me. So I got hired there. And then from that, I sent in a tape over to Perfect Strangers and then just kept, and then it's all relationships and building things. And I told Joel when we got here, everything died in COVID. I say COVID and the Kardashians killed the sitcom.
Yes,
So
reality TV.
It's all reality TV
Yeah.
and nothing else. But now they're starting to come back. So they've got Scrubs that has come back, and Anna, my wife and I watched that last week, and it's a great reboot. But NBC, who has nothing but sports shows on right now,
Yeah.
they just quit doing. They're actually making sitcoms. So I got a call. It was 2 days ago.
No way.
To do a new show. Carrie Leiser wrote the New Adventures of Old Christine. She was one of the writers on Will and Grace, and she created the show. And that was Julie Louis-Dreyfus in that role. So I did that for the duration. And so Carrie has always said, whenever I do a show, I will call you up. I had the same relationship with Norman Lear, and it's very nice to have those relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I worked with are actually older than me, Joel. I don't know if you know that.
Wow.
There are
No
people
way.
older than you.
Yeah,
It's like, I've done research. It's Googleable. There are people older than me.
That's why I like to hang out
Still?
with Bob.
No, I'm kidding.
That's why I like to hang out with
He
Bob.
looks so young.
The only
joking.
person older than me is Bob. So that's
Yeah.
why
That's why you keep him around.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, Joe. So anyway, but I got so I'll be doing their pilot on in April. And,
Congratulations.
yeah, it's very exciting. And
Yeah.
it's got Katie Seagal and Jane Lynch and Carrie Leiser from Old Christine will be writing it. And you never know about a pilot, but NBC is picking that one up and another one called Newlyweds with T. Leone and Tim Daly, and they're pairing it. They're doing a comedy night, and so they need these. And they have to get shows because everybody's left to go watch streaming.
Right.
So I'm very excited about it. And it's like, oh, I guess because when COVID happened, everything got pulled away. I was on one day at a time. In March, they just stopped it. Sony was kind enough to pay us for April. And that's it. You're done. So I started doing cruises and getting back on the road, and now God has brought this back, and it's just a wonderful thing because I want to stay in town. The great thing about doing warm up is you don't have to go on the road.
Yeah.
And so I had a family, I had kids. I didn't want to go on the road, and I was able to do all these shows. And then from that, I got to do a little bit of parts. I got to write on some of the shows, and it was a really nice thing to do. And of course, and you also learn how to just keep going for hours and hours and hours.
Which is the skill in and of itself. And then you also wrote for like a good amount of shows as well. How did you get the opportunity to write for Veggie Tales? Like, how did that come about?
Oh, Joel was in a group with myself at Bel Air Presbyterian. It was called the Bel Air Drama Department. We were bad.
Yeah.
And, we put on sketches before sermons. And people in the congregation, one of them worked for Veggie Tales and said, I think you'd be good for this. With Veggie Tales, they either, when they would go write movies or do movies, they needed people to keep the pipeline going with these individual episodic pieces. So they said all the writers they found were either so spiritual, they understood the biblical part, but they weren't funny, or they were funny and they didn't understand the spiritual part. So you needed somebody with a Monty Python sensibility, but actually believed in God.
Yeah.
And so the very first time I went in, I had a pitch of about 7 pages, and on page 1 was a Western, and on page 7 was the story of Joseph. And when I left, they said, we like that story of Joseph in a Western. I said, yes, that was my favorite idea.
That's exactly what I wrote. Yeah. Yeah.
So I got my first one, and from then on, every time they'd go to a movie, and so I then they had 3-2-1 Penguins that spun off. Different people did that, and then they did TV shows, and so I would it was great fun. But it went through so many bankruptcies that eventually everybody I knew was gone. There was just nobody left, and so they've done a couple different iterations, but it just keeps rising and falling, rising and falling. But the classic time was so much fun to write on that. Yes.
It was fun to watch, and I remember like the moment where, because it wasn't like super obvious that it was like a Christian cartoon, at least not to me, not when I would watch it. It was more so like my cousin Caitlin, like for her generation, I was a little bit older when Veggie Tales came out, but I would watch it with her and I enjoyed it. And I think they even had moments where, did they have like a concert one, or was like there was like a live action one? I don't know. But there was Veggie Tales Mania, and my cousin Caitlin loved it, and I loved watching it with her. And so it was like, that made it a part of our childhood. And I feel like it wasn't like super obvious that it was like Christian, you know, but not in a way that I was bad, but in a way that it was good. It was just enjoyable. And then at the same time, you were getting like some good messaging behind it without it being like, you know, Father Abraham jokes all the time. And so, no, I'm serious. That's how I think of like, you know, certain clean comedy. It's just like Mother Mary and Father Abraham jokes. But Veggie Tales was just like cool, and it was pure, and it was vegetables talking, and no one thought twice about it. And then we learned they were talking about Jesus. It's like, that's a lot going on, but we like it. We like it. And to know that you were a part of it is just amazing. I know people don't know that I have famous friends, but I do. Okay. But I do. You guys don't know that I have famous friends. I have a lot of them. Okay. So, Jen, I have a question for you next, and it is about upside down comedy, because you are the one that brought all of us together. That's why all of us are sitting in this room together today, is because of something that you spearheaded or helped start, or was a dream child that you know that God used you to help birth. And I want to know, like, because I remember my first day coming to Upside Down Comedy. Is this something like an idea that you brought to the table to like Hollywood Prayer Network, or was it like the idea was already there and then they found you? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a great question. Talk about favor.
Yeah.
I've had favor on my life since I've been walking with the Lord, for sure.
Amen.
But Upside Down Comedy is actually under the Hollywood Prayer Network.
Mm-hmm.
And Karen Covell is the founder of Hollywood Prayer Network. And I had met her through some friends and through another ministry I was part of. And I called her up one day and we were having a conversation. And I asked her if I could pray for her, you know, and I prayed for her. And at the end of it, I told her I had a heart for comedians. I wasn't building anything, honestly. I was just talking to her. I said, I did comedy. It wasn't clean.
Yeah.
When I got saved, I stopped doing that. And, you know, eventually I started
Could you
doing
tell
it.
us some of your?
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
like,
I
you
know.
read my mind. I would love to hear some of your unclean
That's
material.
hilarious. That's
Okay,
great.
I'm glad you said it
Maybe
because I was
after
thinking
the
it.
podcast.
I'm like,
After
man,
the podcast.
I would pay anything to
That's
see
too
some of
funny.
your unclean material.
Very funny.
I feel like it was probably still really clean though. I don't know.
It speaks. No, I'm not the same girl, but
Praise the Lord.
yeah,
Come on.
like, I am not the same girl. But in that conversation, she goes, you know what? She goes, I've been, you know, thinking that we should have a comedy group. She goes, and I think you're the one to lead it. And so I think what she had in mind was that we would get together and pray for each other.
Yeah.
You know, and
We do that sometimes.
we do that. I mean, we do that. We pray for each other. But when I went to prayer on it, you know, God gave me some specific instructions, and it just kind of built out of the things that He showed me. And, you know, talk about favor. Robert came along, you know, and what a blessing. I mean, how does that happen, you know? And so, and then we ended up with Emilio Martinez. He did improv
Yeah.
for a while. That was great, you know. And then Marcus came along, Marcus Evans, after that, doing improv as well. And now we've kind of widened it. We've got Joel, and he's, you know, oh my gosh, so seasoned, right? And then we have
Old.
Yeah. There's so many words for old. You know what I
so many
mean?
different ways to
Age,
describe it.
seasoned, flavorful,
Seasoned.
whatever.
Mature.
We help
Yeah,
them in from
mature.
the parking lot. And, you know, it's all good. So we have, you know, some other things that are going on too. It's grown into doing shorts, comedic shorts, and we put on shows, and we go into senior homes and put on shows there. We do birthday parties. We do community events, and then we also put on regular shows.
Yeah.
And so it has really kind of grown out of that place. And I feel like God has just kind of brought, not to over spiritualize it, but
Yeah.
I believe God's just kind of brought the right people
Yeah.
around. We've had some of the wrong ones too. You've been around for that.
But those days are the funnest, though.
Those are
I love a day when that person is there. You know,
I'll never
love
forget when we start off. I usually will do a little message at the beginning of it, and I remember there was that one guy that stood up, and I thought he was so emotionally
moved
by what I had shared. You know, I was like, okay, I really touched him. I really impacted him.
Yeah.
And he started crying and you know, basically told me I shouldn't be teaching, you know, as a woman. And so I will never.
Were you all there that day?
No.
Oh man,
I was the one that said-
that was one of my that was one of my favorite days there. It was
I thought that's
so
what- I thought this was
memorable.
an
Yeah.
intervention. That's what I thought it was.
Yes. No, he stood up like he was like man, that
So
really
moved.
moved him.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And so, and I remember, and we, you know, he started to leave and we got him to stay, you
Yeah.
know, because that's the community we have. We have so much unity in our community. And yeah, so that rhymes.
Yeah.
And you know, really it was, I mean, I understood what he was saying and I appreciated him for having the courage to say it.
Yeah.
But we didn't let him leave. We had him stay. And I remember you got up and you told him, you just took all women back to the 50s. Thank
You did.
very much." I will
Yeah.
never forget that. I mean, you know, we've had some good times.
It was a really fun day, you know, and he was
was.
a good sport about it. You
He
know, even when I
was.
got up there and now I'm like, wait till he finds out that we can vote, man. He's gonna have a tough time about it. But even through that, like he stayed. And I feel like you were the perfect person to lead Upside Down Comedy because comedians were so quirky. But at the same time, we're also a good amount of us very hurt people in various areas of our life. And I feel like to have a leader that is so loving and patient to help us do the healing work so that we can get to the funny, that's you, you know? You love the people that come to Upside Down Comedy. You love the community that God has used you to build. And through that love, their creativity is able to come out knowing that they're safe there, safe to get it wrong or say the wrong thing or feeling like I don't fit in. Because I feel like as comedians, we're just a collective like misfits, you know?
Yeah.
We're creative, but we don't quite know where to put it. So God creates a lane for us, you know? You become a warm-up, you do improv. Like, I do whatever I can, you know? I try to do all the things, but it's like a place to first know that, oh, I'm loved. And if I know that I'm loved, then I can operate in my gift without being afraid of rejection, honestly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you do that so well. I've seen it happen for me, and I'm trying to, do it without crying. But I think I've never cried on this podcast before.
do it.
You always make me cry. No, you do.
Just tell her she shouldn't be teaching that.
No, right.
Bring 'em right out.
As a woman, Jen, you should not. This is what happens when you preach. No, but I remember it was a day that, not to make it a drag because it is a beautiful thing. My foster mom had passed away, like, I think the week that we had just the Upside Down comedy meeting or whatever. I think it was an open mic or it was like an end of the year Christmas party. And I'm one of those people, I kind of just shoulder things on my own. And I'm really just not that way anymore. But I think it's because God has done a lot of healing work in my life. But back then I still was, probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And I just walked in, I sat my bags down. I went to the bathroom. I was like, hey, Jen. And then I went away. And then you had found me. You're like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh my God. But just the fact that, you saw me and you've always seen me, but it's not something that's like unique to me. You see all of us in a way that's like very individualized attention. And it's like, as comedians, I feel like maybe parts of us don't grow up getting enough attention. And so to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel singled out in the best way possible, you have such a unique gift in doing that. And it makes Upside Down comedy like really, really special. It's really special. And for you, Robert, I came to that group at a time where like I was still trying to figure out what type of comedian I was gonna be. I started out doing clubs. And then I'm like, I'm a believer, but I don't want to have to change, Lord. Like, I don't want to have to tell Father Abraham jokes. I don't want to have to not be myself. I'm like, I was at a crossroads. I'm like, am I a Christian comedian? Am I a clean Christian comedian? Or am I just a Christian that's a comedian? Like, do I have to, censor myself in any kind of way? And I think meeting you kind of taught me how to say the same things, but say them more masterfully. And to use a language where now it's just been such a blessing to my career, and that I still talk about all the same topics. I talk about race, religion, politics, all the things that most people are like, oh, you won't get work at a church or anything clean doing that. But God has so made a lane for me that I can. But what the blessing has been is that I've learned how to do that without cursing, which I learned at Upside Down Comedy, which you have taught me how to do. And so, you all have really impacted my career and my life in like a really amazing way. And so I feel like I got my strong foundation at Upside Down. And so for you, Marcus, that leads me to my next question. You do a lot of festivals, and you present me with one of the biggest opportunities in my career a couple years ago, where you booked me to do Electric Daisy Carnival, which was like this huge festival in Vegas, like one of my first shows out of town. And I met you at Upside Down Comedy, and because I had the experience of knowing how to work clean, I've done corporate, I've done festivals, I can do churches, I do events, I do birthday parties, but it's because I have a firm foundation at Upside Down. And then God giving me permission to, no, Asmau, be yourself. I'm not calling you to be anybody else. You have a unique voice, and I want you to say that, but don't say it like that. You can say it, just don't say it like that. I feel like that has been my journey. And I want to know, like, you do a lot of festival circuits. Most of the time when I see you, you either come into one or you're going to one. How did you get into that? And then you run your own improv show. Like, how do you have the motivation to keep doing your improv show, and then having festivals be incorporated into that as well?
Well, I'm always thinking about what haven't I done out here, okay? And at that time, I had never done a festival before, but I want to go back to EDC because I think that was a great experience.
It was
for
amazing.
you.
It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, and you brought that opportunity to me. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. It was an easy choice. I've seen your set. Everybody that's seen your set knows that you're funny.
Thank you.
And really, I mean, as long as you're funny, it's about being funny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether
That
you're
is
in a
the
club
job.
or anything. So there are 2 clean comics
Yeah.
at the Comedy Store at the Improv all the time. And they're as strict as we are, and they do extremely well. So, but festivals, I want to talk about EDC because I know you had a great time there.
I did.
And so I was doing stand-up comedy, and I guess I was letting my coworkers know this. And we were at our retreat in Palm Springs, and they put 5 questions on the board, and everybody had to stand up and answer the questions. So it came my turn, okay? And they, one of the questions was, what's your spirit animal? Okay, and I said my spirit. This is like in front of like 200 people. Now, first of all, there's a black guy from Chicago.
What's your spirit animal? It's like Wakanda. Okay, the Black Panther. Okay?
Exactly. So in front of everybody, they're like 200 people were in this ballroom, and this came my turn. I was like, Marcus, what's your spirit animal? And I said, my spirit animal is fried chicken.
Oh God! And that's you. That's you. Yeah.
And so it got a massive laugh. And the CFO gets on the mic and said, wait a minute, Marcus is a stand-up comedian. Maybe Marcus will do 5 minutes for us tonight. Because
Wow.
what we did was we went out to a bar that night and and stuff. So we go out there. I'm gonna try to shorten this story. We go out there.
You don't have to.
Oh, I don't have to? Okay. Well, they had someone who sings there who, if I mentioned her name, she did really, really well. She was married to a famous actress. He's really no longer with us. But she did really well. And then I went up, and you just have to be ready when your opportunity comes. Because I saw this coming
Yes.
out of nowhere. I did not see this coming at all. I was asking people, well, should I do it? Everybody was like, yeah, Marcus, go ahead and do it. I went ahead and did it. It was one of the greatest nights of my career. And from that, I was able to book comedy for the largest music festival in the world. I did that for 4 years.
Wow.
And so, I've seen your set. It was an easy thing to take you with me. And really, let's get back to this being clean in a not so clean environment.
Yeah.
I thought you killed. You did extremely
Thank you.
well.
Thank you.
And also Nicole did too, who's also
Yeah.
a clean comic.
Yeah.
And we're out there and with people that don't believe anything.
At all. They believe in a good time. They're recovering. They're hungover. They're there to party. But it was amazing.
It was
amazing.
It was great while it lasted. I did that for 4 years, 8 shows. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So sometimes your blessings aren't necessarily in the church; it's out there in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, with my show, boy, this can go on for a while.
Yeah.
But I've had, I don't know, maybe a half dozen locations,
Mm-hmm.
over 100 shows. I produced probably more clean comedy shows than anybody in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And now I'm at my favorite location. God has so put his hand on it to the point the show I had.
Where are you now? Let the people know.
I'm at the Petty Cash Theater. Petty Cash
Awesome.
Theater, West Hollywood. Great location. And it's a total God thing. It's nothing that I've done. I couldn't do anything like this. But it was standing room only last time. And
Wow.
I'm expecting that type of crowd tomorrow.
That's
And
incredible.
I'm really, really excited. And it's just about keep going.
Yes.
And you learn a lot as a producer. I encourage anybody,
Yeah.
please.
Producing is hard.
It
I produced
is.
one show and I'm like, I'm good. This is not where my gifting is at all.
I hear you.
It's hard.
I even when I first started, I was in a restaurant, I think on 8th and La Brea, I think the Muse Cafe, if I remember correctly. I remember one show, there may have been 3 people. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not going to have anything else do this. But I had another Christian comic that was there who wasn't even performing. It's like, no, Marcus, you got to keep going. And thank God I did, because I don't believe EDC happens if I would have stopped. I don't believe God would have blessed me with something like that. But no, it's been great. It's been over 100 shows. The best location I have, West Hollywood. I love West Hollywood. I'm even though I'm a Christian, I love that area.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. I want to get the thing on TV. I think it deserves to be on TV.
That's
I think
what's
it'll be a
next.
bless.
Yeah.
It's such a
I think
great
there's
show.
room for it on TV
Absolutely.
too. Like Robert was saying, there's such a absence of curated shows. And I think the tides are turning, people are feeling nostalgic. People want comfort. People want something that's real now in the world of AI. So I think things are turning in our favor. And I see just God, a lot of believers, there's always been believers in the entertainment industry, but I feel like there's a level of excellency that God is calling all of us to that's for something, at least for the people that I meet. It's okay, if the enemy gets to have the best of the talent, why doesn't God as well? You know what I mean? And preparing us to go into those spaces and be great. And I don't have to walk in the room and be like, I'm a Christian. You're going to know that I'm good because the Spirit's on me. And when we had that conversation, you'll know. Or I'll just put it on my shirt. Just in case I'm not behaving myself that day. What would you say keeps you going? Like you said, 100 shows, different locations, starting at a place where like, okay, well, it was 3. What made you not quit so that you could get to the 100?
I would say having a Christian there that really talked me off the ledge. That one night, 'cause I was like, all right, enough of this. And from there, I just kept going. You get wisdom, you learn how to do things better, and you learn how to do things excellently, which is very, very important for us. Not just being clean, but can you deliver a quality product? And so from there, I go to the clubhouse. It's more of a theater environment for improvisers. That went really, really well. But my heart was always to have a show where you would feel comfortable inviting industry.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now.
That's really smart.
And so I've had people there. I never say who these
really
people are.
smart.
I never tell people who these people are, but I have had pretty much industry, I would say, at most of the shows in West Hollywood. I don't really, the only person that really knows about that is me and maybe one other person.
Yeah.
And, but no, you just have to keep, in anything in life, you just have to keep going, and you'll run into blessings that you're not really expecting to find.
But you're prepared for it because you're doing the work. When the opportunity finds you, it is about being prepared. And that's something that I experienced time and time again. It's like, okay, good things find me when I'm doing the things that I'm already doing and doing them well. And so that's very encouraging. You all's life and friendship is always encouraging to me. And as we get ready to land this plane, I want all of us to answer this question. I'm going to start with you. And that is, looking back on your career now, it's been 5, 6, or 7, 8 years. Would you do it all the same way? Is there any different choices that you would make? Do you feel like, okay, no, because that's a super long question. You can answer either or because it's two questions that I really wanted to ask.
Circle the airport.
We're going to circle the landing. Okay, this one's shorter. Do you feel like you've made it? And if not, what's going to be that moment that you feel like I've arrived?
No, I have not made it. I've had a destination for where I want to end up at. That destination hasn't come yet. But I feel like I'm closer than ever now, writing my own pilots, them getting a little bit of attention. I'm really, really excited about that. But I love progress. Progress is fun.
It's my favorite thing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love to see a goal come to pass.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if it's just to go to the gym that day. If I do it, I'm like, I'm killing it. I'm crushing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to see, like, okay, I was thinking about, okay, what haven't I done? So to move past EDC and look at other festivals, they have been such a blessing. I wish I would have did that a lot sooner. But traveling to other places, other states here in America, and seeing how my comedy works there, making new relationships, and running into people even there that you wouldn't expect to run into. They're really doing some things here in America, comedy-wise. It's just been awesome.
Awesome. Okay. You guys keep an eye out on Marcus. He's coming. He's coming fast. He's coming at you fast, and he's about to make it. And then for you, Robert, do you feel like you've made it? And if not, what would that moment look like for you?
When Marcus asked me to go to a festival.
There you go. So I've made it then. Thank you. I've already made it. Yeah, this is for fun now. I've already.
So to answer your question, I do not feel I have made it, and I will never feel I have made it.
Really?
And it's a strange thing about art and pursuing things. You should be happy always pursuing. And as soon as you make it, you become lethargic and you stop. So it was 10 years ago, and this moment is very still fresh in my mind. I've got friends from grade school, and it was a high school reunion. We got together, there was a brunch, and somebody asked the question, how has your life turned out differently than you thought it would in high school? I said, well, that's a good question. So we went around the table, and there was one young Jewish girl, not young anymore, but when she grew up in Indianapolis, it was a very intellectual family. They always read books. And then she had 2 boys that were in sports. She said, I never would imagine a million years that I would go to, and I'd be a sports mom. And so it went around the table, and everybody answered, and there's people there's a federal judge, there's a heart doctor. I've got some very smart friends, and I'm the comic relief. And it came to me.
Every group needs.
And I said, I just didn't think it would be this hard. And it was at a lull at some point for some reason. And it was like, I said, by this time, I thought I would have made it. And those are the words that came out of my mouth. And I said, because I thought I'd be on my own sitcom, or I'd have this, or I'd have that. And so my best friend from kindergarten wrote me afterward and says, Bob, everyone in our school is jealous of you because you get to do what you've wanted to do since we knew each other in kindergarten. And I went, oh yeah, I was throwing a pity party, and that was my fault. And so I realized it's just a matter of attitude. So I'm grateful for what I have. I'm extremely grateful that a man plans his direction, God directs his steps. He holds you back from things that are dangerous. Sometimes his refusal is his protection.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually very happy that I never got to be the star. I mean, there's one guy from Princess Diaries you would not believe.
You won't believe how he ended up.
Like he
that
just
guy.
rests on that. He will not let it go. He's like, yes, Princess. All the time. That's all. Every time I call him, he opens with that.
As he should.
So that's my answer. Do I think? And no, I haven't made it. I'm not big. I'm not famous. But I tell people on my stand-up comedy class,
You're successful.
I've been able to make a living at this for close to 40 years.
Yeah.
And so that's an achievement.
Yes, it is.
But you don't know who I am, and you never will know who I am. But there are ways to make money if you just keep working it, and you find this iron will catch and that goes down, and this iron, and God provides. He has provided for me my entire career.
Amen.
So I'm as blessed as I can be, and actually grateful that I didn't make it.
Wow. Well, that's paradigm shifting right there. Because I never thought of it that way. To be pursuing is to make it. It's always just been I'll get to a point where I don't have to pursue, but it's like I guess that's the whole point. I'm doing something that I enjoy, and the whole point is to keep doing something that I enjoy, not stop.
If you just look at this career, it started off with packets in a notebook, and you would put your press clippings together, and you sent out DVD, or you sent out VHS at that time, and then it changes, then it changes, then it changes. It will always change. You're always doing now it's social media, and 5 years will be something totally different. AI will be infused with it. So you have to keep reinventing yourself, and that gets tiring at a certain point. But you realize this is the gig.
Yeah.
We'll always need writers, directors, comedians, but the format in which we put our stuff out there is always going to be different.
Yeah.
And so it's this constant game that you're always working and spinning those plates. And you got to keep the creative stuff going, but you got to keep the marketing stuff going too.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Ratchet
So
Christian
I'm just
podcast.
tired.
This is the other reiteration of it. So Jen, rapid fire round. Do you think you've made it? And if not, what would that look like for you?
Well, first of all, I didn't get to respond to all the nice things you said about me earlier. So I want to just say that you have such a special place in my heart, and you've made a big impact on me. You are such an encouragement to me. If I ever get discouraged in what I'm doing, I think about you.
Yeah.
And I think about what you're doing, and that encourages me. So do I feel like I've made it? No. And yes. When I say yes, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that yes, certainly I do want to continue my comedic career, but a big part of it for me is sewing into the life of other comedians, and just loving on them and encouraging them, in what they're doing, and so and hopefully, teaching people about not compromising, right?
Yeah.
And staying true to your values in what you're doing is important to me. So, so I don't see an end to this or like a big crescendo. I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be, and if I were to make it, that'd be great. But that is not why I'm doing it. So,
That's very beautifully said.
Yeah.
And then Joel, we're gonna have you land the plane.
Bring it on.
Do you feel like you've made it? And if not, what would it look like for you?
Yes,
Yes.
I've made it. No, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you have.
No,
What?
no, absolutely not. I agree with what everybody shared here. Same sort of thing. It is the journey, and it is always changing and figuring out, okay, what is God's path now? And there have been moments I felt like, oh, here's success. And there have been moments where it's like, oh, I've reached goals that I had, when I got to be a regular on a TV series. It wasn't widely known. There's like a niche market for it, but I got to be a regular, and we did 5 seasons, and I got to play the same character. That was a goal of mine.
That's awesome.
Was it like this big, huge success? No, but we got to do 5 seasons. So that was like a moment of success. Did I make it? Do I, from that, am I getting all these offers? No. Did I get to be in some really cool movies and work with some amazing actors and do scenes with them. It's like, yeah, I've gotten to do that. Those were moments of success, but never felt like I made it because then it's like, oh, what's next? And here lately, I've been in a season and God's been kind of taking me into a place where I'm doing a lot more teaching. I'm teaching at a acting studio. I'm one of the instructors there at a place called AFA Studios in Toluca Lake in Los Angeles. And that's been a great opportunity. I've loved that. I get to teach it upside down. I'm working with some people that I met there, and from another class I taught at the Greenhouse and doing a little improv show in there. And that's been fun to kind of get back into regularly performing. And also I'm directing the show now as well. And so that's also sort of a teaching and kind of pulling, stuff that I know from years and years of doing improv into that. And it's like, well, let's make our show as good as we can. What you were talking about with it needs to be excellent. So, all right, we can all agree we're going to be Christians. We're going to keep it clean. How good can we make it? Can we make it so that it's better than the alternatives out there where it is like everybody's working blue and, it's not so great for the soul. Can we be as good or can we be better, even more excellent? And so that's the goal towards that. Never feel like you make it. It's always something more to strive for. And I'll just back up what Jen was saying, that you truly do have such a light. And I remember you coming in to Upside Down Comedy. I said, oh, I need to know her. And so, as excited as you were, and when you squealed, it scared me.
I did squeal.
but there was certainly a light that comes from you that is infectious.
Thank you very much.
Joel, you made the podcast. You're not going to.
No, I'm on the end. They can
leave Joel alone. He does what he wants. He's royalty.
Yes.
Well, to wrap it all up, everyone, I believe I've made it because I have you all as friends. And also because you all are famous. No, I'm kidding. No, but not just that, because I have you all as a community, as people that I learn from, can go to whenever I have life things, comedy things, like to just know that I have that support as a comedian and the encouragement that comes from you all, the belief that you all have in me, the experience that you have that I can draw from, spiritually, in the workplace is a blessing and a gift to me. And I really appreciate you all making the time to come out of town to do this podcast. If you haven't already and you're watching this, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to have all of their social media information and their names at the bottom of the screen. I want you to go follow them on Instagram and behave yourselves, Ratchet Christians. Follow them, support their work because it's incredible. Show them love. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I just want to let you know that I appreciate it. I have listeners in Ghana, guys, in Canada, all of that. And so I appreciate y'all. And we're small and we're mighty and we're growing. And I have a feeling that you guys will be back again. So thank you for coming.
Well, now I feel like I made it.
Yeah, you made it. You guys have made it. You're on the Ratchet Christian podcast. Thank you so much, Solomon. All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.